how did your closing on your house go? Oh
Yeah, it
no.
went well. Yeah, bought a rental property. Um, yeah. But, okay.
Okay, I just signed in right now. And you said that was yeah, it doesn't have it actually on here, but you said it was BTC USD, right?
Um, yeah. Let me see here. Let me show you my screen. Share screen so you can see what I'm seeing. Stop share screen. All right. Okay. You able to see my screen?
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, I can see it.
So
Yeah, you did
so
one
so
up.
right here, like on this top area right here,
Uh-huh.
if I go to
Oh.
load, it will show my my charts that I saved.
Oh, okay, so so you saved them as layouts. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, let me go to
Um, yeah, that was it's funny. Like as simple as doing like charting trend lines sounds when actually doing it, like I doubt myself. It's like
yeah.
did I get it just right, and like what um yeah, what should I be looking at and stuff like that. So for example here, I now that I'm looking at this, I see how this one is kind of wrong, right? um so
Yeah,
instead you,
yeah, I see
you
what
know
you're talking about.
yeah, so like I have several dips beyond that right there, so that's not true. Like if I'm gonna do it.
See, the usually one of the better ways to do it is usually to catch the bottom of the wick. You see where you first drew it at, like right there.
Uh-huh.
Drag that dot down to the bottom of that long wick,
Okay.
and then right where that other one is,
Like that.
there you go. And what that does is it creates a bullish triangle. So typically, what'll end up happening is if it breaks out to the upside, because it can still be invalid. Keep that in mind. It can still be invalid. What you're looking for something like that, you're looking for it to break out to the actual upside. Now, if it breaks down to the downside, then you know that trend line could possibly be moving to the downside.
Okay. So I just adjusted this angle as well, but with me adjusting it, I end up with only two touches.
Yeah,
So I don't have a
yeah.
third touch.
See, yeah, that top one may be a little bit for me, I probably wouldn't put that one. Sometime you'll be able to get it to where you have a trend line from the top and the bottom. Sometime you might only have just one trend line going up until it finds that resistance or support level,
Okay,
depending
so
on what you're looking
here's a better one. So I took it from here. I have three touches.
at. Okay. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. See, yeah, something like that is gonna give you a higher. It's gonna be a trend line that's gonna be a lot more, a lot better. It's gonna show you like a better trend whenever you like doing something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, Bitcoin is in a very dangerous pace right now. It's in a very, very because it kind of shot up,
Uh-huh.
and it kind of a lot of people thought it was gonna break out yesterday. So a lot of people start putting in buy orders at the same thing that happened whenever it was at 19,000. People are doing it down here.
Right here.
They're putting in buy orders, and the price keeps getting like drugged down. As
Right.
soon as it hits a resistance area, the price just keeps getting drugged down, keeps getting drugged down.
Yeah. Well, if today, if it breaks out of this upper line, does it have potential? Like,
Potential, but you see where your R1 is, right?
uh-huh.
You see where that last high is before this one,
Yeah,
right there. So that right there is going to be the key level that it needs to break.
I see. Okay.
Because anytime before that, it can still be trending down technically.
I see.
Because it already broke. You see the last low it made.
Last, like this one right here, or
Go to the left a little bit.
This one?
Yeah, right there, right there. So that low was lower than that big wick.
Right.
You know, not lower as in like the wick was lower, but the actual body closed
Okay.
lower than that candle with the long wick.
Okay.
So that already lets me know that there's still a lot of downside pressure. In order to reverse that, it has to break that high that we were just talking about at R1. So that's what I'm saying. It's really in between a very dangerous area to where if it breaks above that R1, it could take off. But then if it breaks that low again, it could like keep falling to we were talking about when I first met you at 8,500. That also your friend was talking about like 7,000.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So Bitcoin is at a very it's kind of consolidating really. It's just been in this same little, $3,000-$4,000 range for I don't know the past week, 2 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
but it's mainly just due to holidays. Everything's about to start rolling again in the next week to 2 weeks.
Right. So that video that you sent me with the trend lines, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the guy uses the
The
candle
body,
body and not the wicks, and he
exactly.
said that it gives him a tighter and more conservative view. What was I forgot? You told me what was your reason why you used the wicks and not the.
The Wix mainly. I don't know if you've seen in the video. He was just like the good thing about charting with the Wix is it can prevent you from getting faked out. And faked out is just when you seen that long wick that happened right there, that could have been a fake out. You know what I'm saying? Like if you would have just been getting the body, then you probably would have just kept that selling even when it kept rising. So I typically just use the wicks just for that purpose to prevent it because this market is wild. It's very 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 volatile.
Gotcha.
So you're gonna get a lot of those fake moves. And if you have the wick, then it can kind of prevent that. But either one is good. You just got to make sure you stay consistent. Like if you're looking at Bitcoin and you're drawing off of wicks, you want to make sure you always do wicks. If you want to draw off of bodies, make sure you do on bodies. You can do wicks and bodies on different ones. It's just whatever chart you're looking at. Just make sure you stay consistent with doing that on
Right.
that specific chart.
Right.
And you can test it out. You can do it both ways as well.
Yeah. Well, when I tested out, the variance was very little. It wasn't.
Yeah. It wasn't really too much.
Yeah. So one thing I want to get clear on. So like when I'm drawing the trend line, I'm supposed to not have anything cross while I'm drawing the trend line, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like
You want to
this
you want to
one,
get as many wicks as possible without going through bodies.
yeah. So like this one here, that means this trend line is all incorrect right here. Because it
Um.
several bodies. Because I'm trying to draw the, let me see here.
Oh, actually, at that specific time, whenever you drew that trend line going right there,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that one I probably wouldn't have drawn. It did overall. You did find where the market direction was going
Mm-hmm.
at that time, and when it did break that trend line, as you can see, it kept falling. So it is a valid trend line, but it's something that I wouldn't have drawn myself.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, let me, if I was to recorrect this trend line, yeah, drawing your style, let me see what I would draw. Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing I've realized that the 4 hour is really really good on almost any pair you're looking at.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
okay, so tell me like this trend line here, how would you have drawn this trend line? Does that look, I mean, like, or you,
Yeah,
or you would
true.
take,
Truthfully, that trend line is actually. Oh, actually, no. These were wicks at one point. No, dude, that trend line is actually good only because it's kind of hard to see only because the time has already been filled in the past. But those two, though, when those two bodies hit that trend line, those are technically valid. I'm sorry, those are technically valid because at one point in time, those were wicks. When price was at that point, those were wicks, and it never closed below that trend line.
okay.
So that one is actually good. Sorry about that. That one is actually really good because whenever whenever you're drawing a trend line, even if you don't get the actual wick and the body still respects the trend,
Mm-hmm.
then it still makes it a valid trend.
Okay. Got it. All right. Yeah. Okay. And
You just want to make sure you don't go through the body.
right, right. Okay, yeah. And then I have to remember, like one thing I still trying to remember is when it's red, that means that it opened up on top and close on the bottom. When it's green, it
Exactly.
open the bottom, close on top.
Exactly.
Still
Exactly.
learning. So it's still yeah, not used to that yet.
Yeah, that man. I had to whenever I first started trading. That was like one of the main things. No matter what strategy you use,
Mm-hmm.
like this is like trend lines is always going to be something that you're going to use on like any strategy. You know, there's a million strategies out there, but that's going to be one of the main things that's universal. And yeah, I just kept repeating it to myself.
Yeah.
I had to like write it down and like reread it like at least like 100 times, and I was just like, okay. So then
Yeah.
now I can look at a chart and just be like, okay, open, close here, close, open here.
Right. Yeah. And like I see how this trend line is like all wrong. Let me see. How would I correct this trend line?
That one would have been a little bit more out. So it actually should have been going across, move it up, keep going up, and keep going up.
More like that?
Yeah, right there. Right there on that wick. And you seen you already touched 2 wicks at the top, right?
Right. Let me see here. So I'm starting with this red one up here. Yeah.
Exactly. So
2, 3. Yeah.
that was kind of that trend line. It is a trend line. It's just not a strong one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really not a really strong one, only because it touched what, maybe two wicks. I usually go for three.
Well,
So
you have these 2 wicks up here that it touches
oh, okay, hold
very
on,
slightly,
let me big
and
screen
this
mine.
is your third wick.
Oh, okay, yeah. Matter of fact, I see it now.
Yeah.
One,
But when
two,
it broke out
three.
of this, and it's also the pivot point too.
Exactly. That's why there's a good chance that Bitcoin could go up to that R1 and fall just like it did last time.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because that right there, what it could do, that trend line that you just drew, it could create a wick to that R1 and come right back down. And that right there is going to be it's going to end up being a strong trend if that happens, like a
Right.
strong trend back to the downside.
Right.
You see
Right.
price been there before, and look what happened last time. It went from 16,000 almost down to like 12,000.
Yeah. And look at this. This was the support line here.
Exactly,
And for it
exactly,
to, yeah, it do have to break out of this to really like go up.
exactly. Yeah, I was telling one of my good friends. I was thinking like for me, in order for me to buy Bitcoin, it would have to break 16,700. Like we're talking about like a close, like a candle closing above that.
Yeah.
But I mean the downward pressure is still kind of there. And if you ever hold on, I'm gonna share my screen with you so you can kind of just see how if you ever kind of questionable like on your trend lines, you'll get like a good idea. So I'm gonna use you got Litecoin. I'm gonna use one of the ones that you had drew on. Oh, let me share my screen first. Yeah, I forgot about those templates, man. That actually helps a lot.
Yeah. So if you can save some of yours there, that will probably help me too.
Okay, yeah. I didn't even I didn't even know I can even log into that yeah, but yeah. I'll start posting all of mine on there.
Okay, yeah.
Because as of like right now, I actually have a good amount of them drawn. Like I've literally been up like all morning just doing research on a lot of different ones, finding out about the company, what they do, why people are investing in it, long term wise, where it can possibly go to, and little things like that.
Right.
So I didn't even really sleep. But it's actually very interesting on what a lot of these coins capabilities are. Like man, they have a coin that does polls. So literally all they do is they like for like companies and businesses and different like things like that. This company does like the polls, you know, like voting and everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. People see value in that,
Yeah.
so
People see value in all kinds of crazy stuff.
yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah. All right. Let's look at my oh, you sharing your screen?
Yeah. Unshare your screen.
Oh, okay. Oh, I
And
don't
then,
know. I have to unshare for you to share. Okay.
all right. So what I want to show you is kind of how like on your Bitcoin one, if you ever have like any doubt with, you know, finding your trend, even if you don't have any of these trend lines on here, if you have any of these trend lines, another tool that I like to use is where is it? Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go, right here. I use this tool just for just kind of like drawing, you know, to kind of like give you, it kind of just give you, it's just like a better visual. Jesus, if it goes.
Okay, yeah. Kind of highlights that area.
Yeah, exactly. So what this does for me is it shows me that one other thing. I'm gonna send you a video on it as well. Actually, the guy that I'm actually designing the training with, he's actually right here next to me, just
Okay.
kind of looking over my shoulder and seeing how I'm kind of teaching you and everything. But they have these things that's called higher lows and higher highs and lower lows and lower highs.
Right.
And whenever the market is doing this, you know, this is a high, but this last major high is lower than this high.
Right.
And this high is lower than this high.
Yeah.
So what this is kind of telling me right now is that currently the market is still trending down, you know, and if that is a continuous thing, that's kind of like letting you know, you can kind of project on where potentially price is going. So as long as price doesn't break here, you know, well, break here, close above here, and then that still makes this valid.
Right.
So that's just, that for me is just a good way to kind of just, you know, visually be able to I'm gonna load up Litecoin as well so I can see how. I haven't even looked at Litecoin in I don't know how long. Actually, I already got Litecoin. So it's the exact same thing with Litecoin. I need to favorite this tool.
So whenever you favorite something, it puts it on top there for you?
Yeah. So all the ones I have favorite is I have my fib. I'm gonna be teaching you that one as well. My fib lines favorite. I got the Ray one I usually favorite as well. Just the tools that I use all the time, so I have to be going back and forth. That one. I mean, I also use the horizontal line sometimes. No, those are pretty much like all of the main tools you're gonna use.
So you don't you don't use the normal, you don't favorite the normal trend line?
Yeah. You can use that. I use the Ray.
What's the difference?
The Ray. Let's say I use the Ray. The Ray automatically it gives you like it automatically levels it for you.
Oh, okay.
Versus the trend line, you can change the, like, it's a little bit differently with the trend. The trend line you can kind of change like the like how straight that line is or the different distance. It automatically, it's just easier to draw. Like if I do this, like it'll draw it straight down for me, and versus me having to stretch it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see how it's faster.
Yeah, let me take this off. Yeah, but the exact same thing with the ellipse with Litecoin. It's the exact same thing. And this is one of the things I like to do as well. If the trend isn't clear to me, you know, all I do is just kind of just draw like those highs. You know, and what this does, this kind of tells you like, okay, this high is lower than this one. This one is lower than this one. This one is lower. You know, you literally go like from the last one. You know, if they keep consistently getting lower and lower and lower, then that's kind of like letting you know where the market is potentially going. And this trend line that you have drawn right here is perfect. We just connected right here.
Mm-hmm.
This trend line right here is perfect. You know, to the point where it looked like Litecoin is potentially going to drop again. Mm-hmm. You know, anytime price is like right here between like these levels, right, like barely above the pivot level or barely below it, you know, and it's been trending down. So this is kind of like letting you know that there's a possibility that what they can do is they can push it up right here, because if they push it up to R1, that high is still lower than this last high.
Right.
So that just because it's in a downtrend doesn't mean that it can't push to right here. So potentially the upside can be to $273, I would say. Well, actually 287 to be exact, I would say. But like the downside is just a lot more, you know, like this low. And another thing you can draw as well. Let me change the color to something else. I don't know, let's go red. Same thing whenever you're like looking at lows. You know, that low is lower than, you know, this low. And that creates like a what they call a channel. You see how the lows kept getting lower. I'm sitting there touching on my finger.
I can
This low is a little bit higher than this one. So the lows keep getting lower every single time.
Now the channel is getting thinner and thinner, so there's a
possibility
that it's closing.
So that right there usually represents a big breakout is coming. A really, really big breakout is coming.
Yeah. So when it gets to that bottom, it'd be good for us to get in.
Exactly. I'm plotting out. I just want to see something real quick with Litecoin, because I haven't plotted this one out in a while.
¿Qué tal?
Yeah, this thing is kind of.
¿Dónde dominant? ¿Y tú? Está muy helado, ¿no?
Yeah. Yeah, man, this thing has been pushed to the downside. God, if Litecoin, I hope Litecoin doesn't go. Well, I mean, if it does, that's good. But I don't know if you've seen the way that I drew the parallel channel. Mm-hmm. You have your main trend line coming from the very top of this wick up here, right?
Okay.
And it's just like slicing through these wicks. It flew through that one, flew through a couple of them right here. So that makes it valid.
So it's right here, for you to slice through the wicks?
Say that again.
So it's okay for you to cut through?
Yeah. For me, I try to get it as close to the body as I can without going through the other bodies of the actual trend. That's why I like to use the ray, because the closer, the more wicks that you can go to as close to the body makes it a lot more valid as well. Because all the wick does is just tell you where they tried to push the price to, but it did not close right there.
Right. But what I mean is, I thought like from that video that for my trend line to be valid, you know, it has to be that there's no wicks. If I'm going to use wicks, that there's no wicks crossing it like that, like that you just changed, right?
Yeah.
But in that case, it only has 2 points. So that's still not a valid trend line yet. I mean, is that correct?
The way that I usually do it is, in order for me to get those 3 wicks, because the dangerous thing about wicks is wicks is it just shows like what they tried to do, and if I can get like my very first wick, I always start at the top of that one, mm-hmm. And I'll plot out and I'll see, okay, if I move this trend line to right here, mm-hmm. You know, like kind of like what would be like the main big difference between them.
Right.
Litecoin is still pushing down, but it's just getting to a dangerous. Litecoin and Bitcoin, they're both doing the same thing, to where they're both getting to like those dangerous areas. And that's why I'm saying that this trend line could change based on what price is going to do now. Because if price pushes up right here, and there's it wicks, that'll let me know that, like, okay, that this trend line will actually be more valid right here versus being right here.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
For that, but yeah, that's also a good way to kind of see it. If you can't see it with just drawing your ellipses like this, then you can draw your ellipses and then put your trend line at your major highs,
Right.
and lows as well. But yeah, so the main thing though today that I do want to teach you is called TDI. Did you see the video?
I did, but that's, man, I was having a hard time understanding. The trend line was easier to understand.
Yeah, way easier.
Yeah.
So which one do you want to look at? Also, I'll show you the TDI, the Bitcoin or the Litecoin.
It doesn't matter. You just pick one.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So what I'm gonna do, first off, I'm gonna raise this up so we can just see it a little bit more clearly. So basically what TDI is a combination of a few different things. This blue line right here is called a Bollinger Band. And what that does is a Bollinger Band measures volume and volatility. So whenever you have this, you see how like how big from like here to here it is, versus here to here, which is a lot smaller.
So hold on. You said two things, and they seem to be separate to me. You said that it measures volume and it also measures volatility. Are you saying volume and volatility is the same?
Oh, sorry, volatility, not volume.
Okay, okay.
Volatility. Yeah, that's why that these two Bollinger Bands, when they're right here, when the market gets volatile, you'll see the bands open up.
Right.
Like this. They get very wide. When the market gets sideways, when it's not really doing too much, then the bands will kind of start tightening up.
Right.
Like this. You know, when the market was just kind of chilling right here,
yeah.
It was, you know, the bands were tighter. When this happened, look how big these bands got.
Right.
You know, it flew from $1.50 to all the way to $400. You know, and that's one of the things of TDI. This yellow line right here is a very, very key line. It's probably one of the most important things of TDI. What this does is it tells you where overall market sentiment is going, despite what price is doing. So, for example, right here, right now, is even though Litecoin is falling, the market sentiment is telling you that Litecoin is kind of is still in a mode to where it can't possibly move up. But for me, it's like it's still under the 50 level.
Okay.
So hold on, and that's actually, let me draw that. I'm gonna put this on your chart right now, just so it can be a little bit easier for you to see it. I need to add in this, the level 60.
Yeah, you're gonna have to explain what those levels are.
Yeah, I'm gonna explain all of these to you as well. I'll make this one red, and then 37 is down here. I'm gonna make this one lime green, and then we got the 50 level. That's that color. It's not gonna work.
Use your restroom, bro.
All right. All right. So before I even, oh God, it didn't save. Oh, let me go back to it. Oh. No, I'm good right now. I'm only doing a TDI today because TDI is very It's one of those tools was very, very, very important. Streets. Okay, that time. Okay, say. All right. So you see how I added the red, I also added the blue, and also added the green. And these are kind of like these are just really important. So this is average. This is just like the median of price. You know, don't get me wrong. Like back at this time, it did shoot through, but that was when the coin first started. But this is typically, these are the areas that you're looking to buy. This is the area that you're typically looking to sell. Anything over this is when a lot of people start looking to sell. Kind of what happened right here with Litecoin at the time. Whenever price broke out of here, people were like just waiting for Litecoin to fall from here. And that's exactly what happened. You know, they typically stay between these two almost all the time. Every once in a while, you'll get like a big breakout. But it's signal like a big market change. So for example, so back to the yellow line. So the yellow line shows overall market sentiment. And if market sentiment crosses above this 50 level, that's kind of just letting you know that it's in a strong uptrend. Right now, it's still below the level. It's still below like this average level. So since it is below this level, you just got to be careful with putting in any buys for Litecoin at the moment based off of this time frame. So another really big thing though is these two lines, the red one and the green one. These are really, really also important because these are your signal lines. These are going to signal to you to buy, and these are going to signal to you to sell. So for example, I'm going to use my ellipses tool once again. Let me change this back to that. You see when it crosses right here?
Okay.
And then do you see what price is doing at the exact same time? Keep in mind that I drew this totally separately from this. You know, I drew this as being one of the highs. Look at my TDI. My TDI identifies this as it's crossing over to the downside. So what I'm gonna do before I even explain too much in depth, I'm gonna start drawing like specific times whenever these crosses happen.
So whenever cross happens, then it's trending down.
Depending on which direction it goes. So you see this cross right here? It crossed going up.
Yeah.
So look what price did at this time.
Yeah.
It went straight up. Look what happened when it crossed down.
Yeah.
It went down. So the best way to play it would be that main yellow line. If this yellow line is pointing down and it crosses below that yellow line, then that's usually a strong indication that it's going to keep pushing down.
Right.
Like right here, whenever it crosses, let me put the ellipsis. Right here, when it crossed, and the yellow line was pointing down, look how much downward pressure it had. You literally went from $350 all the way down.
Yeah.
So you'll get those higher percentage ones whenever the yellow one lines up with this as well. So if the yellow line is pointing down and these cross down, that's a strong indication on where it's going. Usually what ends up happening is whenever these cross coming down and this is still pointing up, this could be an indication of just a retrace to go back up.
I see.
So it could retrace down to wherever price is going to be at that time, which could be somewhere way down here to like $100, because this is a 4-hour time frame. So this moves kind of slowly. You know, it's only going to move every 4 hours. It changes. So this could be a big down move. It doesn't look like it right here, but actual price by time that these two lines get to this yellow line, the actual price can be like way down here.
I see. Wow.
So this right here, it kind of signals, you know, your if you combine this with your trend strategy and your resistance and support levels, it kind of gives you you know, a good idea on like where your actual entries and exits can be at. You know, for example, if I let's say I bought my Bitcoin. If I bought my Litecoin right here at this level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever this cross happened, I should have been closing my trade out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there was cross going down. Yeah.
Yeah, because keep in mind that this yellow line was pointing down at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just a retrace up.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a fake move up. If this yellow line is still pointing down, that means that overall, that if you were buying at this time, you need to be careful and then wait for the next cross. So if I was buying right here, I probably would have actually been buying right here at this line. And I would have been taking profit right here. So I would have been buying in at $230. I would have been taking profit at $293, and I would have been looking for a sell, because overall the market is trending down. So that means that if you were buying, you need to be selling your Litecoins at the cross, because the price is still coming down.
Okay, so if you take it over, so let's look at the next buy and sell. Okay, so take it, yeah, right there. No, go left a little bit. That's when. So would you buy when it crossed right there?
Oh, this one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one I wouldn't have taken this buy, because you want it to be like this, like an X. You see how strong these are? Like an X cross. This one was more so it tested it, but they didn't cross each other.
I see.
It kind of came down to it and tapped it, and then it went up.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that you could have, but it's just a little bit more dangerous.
Right. Okay. So what do we call this red and green line again?
So this is a resistance area.
No, not that one. The ones that crosses.
Oh, these are signal lines. Signal lines.
Okay.
You know, whenever they cross going up, it's kind of signaling to you that the market is moving up, and whenever they're going down, signaling that they're going down. But for example, if this is pointing up, truthfully, I'm only really looking for your strong ones that you want to put a lot of money into would be buys. So me personally, I would wait for this to come down.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever it comes down and it signals me a buy somewhere, wherever that happens at, and if this line is still pointing up, that's going to indicate a big, strong move with Litecoin going to the upside.
Gotcha. Okay.
And as you can see right here, we got a cross going down. So my guess would be that Litecoin is going down to $194, because we got our pivot level right here. Whenever it breaks this pivot level going to the downside, look where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And you can I can almost do the exact same thing on Bitcoin. It's the exact same thing on Bitcoin. Litecoin and Bitcoin move very, very similar. You start noticing like trends with certain ones that kind of like move exactly alike.
Yeah.
It's all right here. We're about to. It hasn't crossed yet. It'll probably happen. This is a 4-hour candle, so probably at 12 at lunchtime, it'll finish that cross.
Okay. And that's cross going down. So.
And that's the cross going down. But for me, it could cross like this line is truthfully kind of flat. It's consolidating.
Yeah.
You know, so if the line is consolidating, that means that it can just drop. It can drop. It can like these signal lines can cross below this level. It's kind of like how it did right here. It crossed below it, but the yellow line was still kind of pointing up. You see?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It crossed below it, and look what happened. After it crossed below it, it kept pushing down. It came right back up to it again, because this yellow line becomes a resistance and support level depending on which side it's on. So if it crosses below it, it might come back up, test it, fall again, came back up, and you see the actual cross right here, the actual X. Why is this not favorited? Here's a perfect example of a cross going up. That X right there, this X right here, that's the kind of crosses you want to look for. Cross, cross. It's completing. It hasn't completed it yet, but whenever if it does complete it, then that's going to be your cross to the downside. But right here, price, it did this right here before. A lot of people thought it was going to cross. Look what happened. It didn't cross. It came right back down. This strong move up right here, this was kind of like the cross. But the yellow line was still flat. You see? The yellow line wasn't even pointing up at this time. So even though it did cross, I wouldn't have been buying Bitcoin because the yellow line is still flat. Now this yellow line is starting to point up. So this could indicate that Bitcoin is going to make one more push to the downside, which even though price can move all the way down here, but this line can only move right. It could be about right here. So this can indicate that the market is about to make a strong move to the downside. It could be somewhere down here. And then by time that the red line and green line comes to this yellow line, price can already be like right here. And then whenever they cross going up, it could be something like this that happens. Let me get this is also another good tool. The arrow. Which color should I use? Let me use green. It could come right here. And then right when that yellow line, right when it gets to that yellow line, it could go right back up. And right here at this point, it could potentially create a cross. We don't know that yet. And that's when like these tools come into handy because it helps you with price prediction. That's literally all trading or investing cryptocurrencies. It's all about price prediction. You got to get all of these things, like you got to get your trend line to match up with your resistance, your pivot points, and matching up with this. You use all of these in conjunction with each other to give you your entries and your X's that you're going to be looking for.
Okay, yeah.
But do you understand a lot more how the TDI works?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because this once you pair this up with your actual trend lines and your actual resistance and support levels, man, that like all of those combined together is going to give you your higher percentages trades.
Okay, so let's take a look at one. Let's take a look at entry and exit point and tie them all together for me.
Okay. Which one you want to look at?
Let's look at let me see here. I'm trying to look at a clear entry here. What about, okay, if you look at where it says that number 25 right there, see where it crossed, and even though the yellow line was still kind of flat, but it was moving forward, the day 25, I think maybe December 25th or something.
Oh no.
Is
oh,
that,
right here?
yeah.
Okay, I mean. Exactly. So like about right here. Yeah. Yeah, that actually would have been, yeah, this is actually a good entry for a buy, 3,000. Yeah, this right here would have been a good buy entry. The reason why it would have been a good buy entry, so for example, at this time, price was sitting about right here. So if you look at this low compared to the last major low, which it closed right here,
Mm-hmm.
You see how they're even?
Mm-hmm.
Like this low did not break this low.
Yeah.
So that lets me know right here. And that's another thing I'm going to send you as well. They have this thing that's called a double bottom. And a double bottom is when it looks just like this. When it closes literally at the exact same levels.
Mm-hmm.
And that indicates a strong up move to the upside. So this double bottom, just looking at price, before I even look at my TDI, this is kind of like, okay, if I see something like this, I'm like, okay, this could be an indication for a strong move upside, but I'm not sure yet. So if you're not sure, okay, let me put that into conjunction with my TDI. So let me look at my TDI at this time in price. Okay, I got a signal for a buy and my yellow line is pointing up. So I would have took this buy.
Okay.
I would have taken this buy all the way until I seen a new cross happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have been buying at 13.5, give or take, and I would have been selling right here at 16.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I looked at that just on the TDI alone. So if we were to use the trend line for confirmation, how would we have did that trend line?
So for this specific trade, your trend line probably wouldn't even have been here. Truthfully, your trend line probably would before. Let me actually, I'm gonna move it just like this so you can kind of see. So before all of this other, hold on, is that the actual price? Oh, sorry, it was actually right here. So if we were just looking at just this amount of data before any of the future data came out.
Okay, yeah.
So I see this cross and my yellow line is still, well, for me, yeah, then it started slowly kind of going up. So I probably actually, me personally, I probably would have actually ended up buying it a little bit higher than right here. Right when this yellow line started pointing up, then I would have bought.
Okay, yeah.
At this time, your trend line wouldn't have been there. So let's say I'm just take it off.
Okay.
So we can just kind of see. So at this specific time, that trend line wouldn't have been there.
Right.
You would have been having only a trend line going up. And that's why I was also saying that sometimes you won't get a trend line coming from the top and bottom.
Okay.
Because the market is still trying to find at this time, the market was still trying to find a resistance. Because keep in mind that the market shot up so much. So since it shot up, it's hard to find a top. There was nothing before it hit 20,000. The only thing they had was this little fake move right here that kind of shot back down.
Mm-hmm.
So at this time, the only trend line that you probably would have been having would be one right here.
Right.
So and even then, I don't know if that actually, that to me, this might have been, let me just draw the trend line right here.
Close, yeah. We do have to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this actually would have been a good one. This has been a really, really good trade to take. So, we got our double bottom already printed right here. We got our trend line. And as we kind of just go forward, it boom.
Right. Interesting, yeah.
It just after that, it kind of just, and this trend line, I drew this trend line. I didn't know anything about that future data that was going to come.
Yeah.
So it kind of just it respected it, you see?
Yeah. Interesting.
And then look what happened when the break of that trend line.
Yeah.
You should have been closing right here. And then look what happened.
Yeah.
So it's it's little things like that a lot of people don't see whenever you go back. I go back and I back test my strategy.
So let's take a look right before it reaches the pivot point. That little small candle right there.
This one right here?
Bottom, yeah. How do you ignore that? That's too small of a candle to really.
For me, I would have needed this candle to be I like to say I would have waited for confirmation from my very next candle.
Okay.
So anytime it breaks the trend line, I wait for confirmation.
Gotcha. Okay.
So technically, you would have been waiting about another 4 hours, give or take, and then you would have been okay, this was just this could have been a lot of people taking profit or a lot of people entering right here at this specific in this 4-hour candle.
Mm-hmm.
And then that took off and buyout, and that right there would have been a really, really nice that trade. You would have been in that trade for maybe a day and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and you could have easily gotten, give or take 13, 15. You could have got, an easy 5-10% trade, depending on how much you put in the actual in that specific trade and everything. So, but yeah, because I remember you said you were going to focus mainly on the bigger coins, right? Like the Bitcoin, the Litecoin, Ethereum, like things like that, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because you're mining Litecoin.
Correct. Yeah. I'm gonna focus on the top 10 basically.
Okay, man. And have you been seeing like the top 10 now?
I looked a little bit yesterday. Um, your Tron is moving up fast.
Yeah, man. Tron is kicking. Look, man. Look at Ripple. Ripple yesterday was
Yeah.
sitting at 100 at 100 million.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
at 100. It's already done 12 million in volume in the past. Like,
So look, Ripple shot up. I mean, it's almost $3 again.
oh shit, bro! Man, I was telling you, my friend is sitting right here next to me, and I told him like when Ripple was sitting at $2.40. My take profit for Ripple is actually at $3.50.
Okay. Yeah. That's why I'm telling you, like the market psychology is really bullish in this thing.
Yeah, and you see Stellar,
Uh-huh.
dude. I bought Stellar at 44 cents last week, and I closed it at 50, and it went to 86.
Wow. Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, this thing is changing. Like I've seen Ripple. Ripple used to be way down here, and it's it's passing up Ethereum. Litecoin, you see, Litecoin used to be number 3, and Litecoin is dropping.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of like EOS. EOS is a really strong one. That's actually one that I entered in. I've done a lot of research on that company. Basically, what EOS is, how what Coinbase is, right? And you know how Coinbase you can only be looking at those 4 coins, and that's why people kind of get with Binance and Bittrex, because Coinbase doesn't have all those coins. If they did have all those coins, nobody would be with Bittrex or Binance.
Right.
And well, at least in the U.S. we wouldn't be, because it's a lot more secure going with the broker that's here, what exchange is here. Well, what EOS is doing, EOS actually they have already they're designing that's already designed. They have a platform that they're about to get ready to release January 31st to be exact. It's literally just like Coinbase, except they have all the coins on their platform.
Mm-hmm.
And the same person that owns this also owns BitShares, which is another one that I also got into,
Mm-hmm.
and they also own Steam. The same guy owns all of these companies, and I seen Steam when Steam was at like 20 cents. Look at Steam now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's done 40% today. The same guy literally owns that. That's why I was doing a lot of research. The same guy owns Steam. He also owns BitShare, which is increasing, and he also owns EOS.
He must know a thing or two about creating these crypto, huh?
Exactly. He I think he actually owns a lot more. I think he's actually one of the people who owns more coins than anyone else as far as companies.
Wow.
That's top. All of his companies are top 20, which is really good.
That's awesome. Wow.
Well, top 22, top 25. But BitShares BitShares kind of just been. BitShares been moving a little bit slowly. So I found out that Steam is basically like Facebook, but for cryptocurrencies. And what this company will do, they'll actually pay you for your average. Like, let's say I put a post out, just like Facebook. If I put a post out and 100 million people like it, they'll pay you based off of that. So instead of you having to have all of those ads pop up, like ad based, because Facebook is ad based now.
Yeah.
That's how Facebook makes money, is off of ads. Well, with them is if you promote something on their platform and it gets a lot of attention, if it gets a lot of attention, I mean, a lot of people are looking into it or buying that product, they'll actually pay you for that.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah. And but this one right here, man, this is gonna be one this is basically Ethereum. It runs off of Ethereum's blockchain, but Ethereum actually has a lot of problems. Like it gets sometimes it gets really slow. And you know, the problem with Ethereum is if it gets slow and you're trying to send a lot of things, then that causes a lot of problems. And EOS basically is Ethereum, but they actually fixed a lot of the problems that Ethereum was having, and now they're also creating a whole platform behind it.
Gotcha.
So now you're about to have a Coinbase that's faster with less fees. They don't have to charge as many fees as Coinbase, and then they also have all of the coins that Coinbase has and the same ones that Binance has. Because the main thing is we can't keep all of our money in one place is because we don't have all of the smaller coins that we want to get to at Coinbase.
Right.
So that's their thing. They fixed that problem. Man, they actually have a lot. I'm gonna have to send you some of the research that I found on them, man, so you can kind of look into it. But this one, I potentially see this one going like top 5, easy. Like within like the next like 3 to 4 months. So right now it's only sitting at 5.2 million, which potentially it can be stellar like in the next 30 days. So that's times 3. So that means that this one coin would probably be sitting at close to like $27.
Wow.
Talking about Ethereum Classic was coming up too.
Yeah.
Up and coming.
Yeah, Ethereum Classic is actually, where is Ethereum? This one is supposed to get listed on Coinbase.
Okay.
I don't really look into it too much, but I've been a lot of like the top guys, they've been talking about Ethereum Classic a lot. That's supposed to be the next one to get listed. Other than Ripple. Man, when Ripple gets listed on Coinbase, man, you might see this thing double the first day.
Yeah. Well,
did you see what happened with
is that confirmed or is that just rumors right now?
Ripple is man. That's the thing. A lot of people are saying it's not confirmed, but there's a reason. Look at all of these top ones right here.
Mm-hmm.
Coinbase. You know, if it surpasses like the top ones that's already on Coinbase,
yeah,
and the technology behind it supports it, most likely it's going to end up on Coinbase.
Right. Okay.
So with this market cap being double the market cap of Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin Cash is on Coinbase, there's no reason why this shouldn't be on Coinbase pretty soon.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you got Litecoin. Yeah, Litecoin is only 13, and it's on Coinbase. You know, a lot of these will get on Coinbase really fast just because of the technology. Litecoin was that speed. The speed of being able to send a Litecoin. And the fees were really cheap. At this time, there was no coin that can do that. Guess who replaced Litecoin? Ripple. Ripple does the exact same thing, and it's cheaper, 200 times cheaper, and the market cap is bigger.
So do you think at this price, is it?
It's still a good buy.
A good long-term buy?
Yeah, Ripple is one of the ones that you can like hold for a very, very long time.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, then to top it off, you know, they're already being invested in by they already have 100 banks on board. But the downfall that I've seen of Ripple is not I guess you can say it's not decentralized. The main thing about cryptocurrencies is you not being able to deal with banks. But as of now, we're probably going to have banks at least for the next, I don't know, 20, 50 years, 100, whatever. We're still going to have banks. But with a lot of people were kind of scared about with Ripple at first. Why? Because it took Ripple actually chilled out at like 50 cents for a long time, because the people wasn't sure on, if they were communicating with banks as far as, like the IRS type of deal. And which everybody ended up finding out that wasn't the case. Ripple only teams up with banks because of the speed, not having to deal with 3 to 5 business days and something being very instant.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ripple's faster than Ripple's faster than all of the ones up here. Every single one of these. So, and look at Stellar, man. Stellar increased 50% today. Jesus.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So what's, I think we can, that's good to cover for today. What would you want my homework be for today?
Compare everything up with TDI. You seen how I kind of like drew like these?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You can take all of mine off and start drawing them yourself. Also do it with Ethereum. I wanna see how you chart out Ethereum, because Ethereum moves differently than Litecoin and Bitcoin.
Right. Okay.
And it's one of the top coins as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was thinking about charting out all the ones that we have in our portfolio right now. So.
Oh yeah. Chart those out as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sounds good. I'll do that.
Let me see if I can get this off. There we go. Oh yeah, this is my good buddy Israel right here.
Hey, how are you, man?
Doing good, buddy. How are you?
Doing good. Good.
He was the one I was actually telling you about. He actually used to work for a big oil company, and when oil shot down, they started laying off a lot of people, and he was one of the people that it happened to. So he was really just looking for a way to kind of like make money. So I started teaching him how to trade. He was coming to my condo a lot, and I've been on him since 6th grade. So so he hit me up. He was just like, man, so like, what are you doing? I was just like, man, just trading. And then I started teaching him, and he does it full time alongside of me. So like I'll be looking at certain things, and then I'll have him looking at certain things. So you kind of like just build a team, like you look at the bigger coins. So once you learn the strategy, then I won't even have to look at the big coins. I'll be like, look, Tim, what do you think about this? Boom, I get your analysis. Then I get his analysis. Everybody kind of have those different things. So you build like a really big group, kind of how like we were talking about as far as like trading and everything. So you build a big team, and then before you know it, you got a ridiculous sized hedge fund.
No kidding. That's awesome. That's the plan.
Yes, sir.
All right, sounds good. All right, guys. Yeah, so so I'll chart out everything, and we'll resume again tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks, buddy.
All right, have a good one, man.
Peace out.